Hey, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Could you elaborate a little bit on art form in your society?
Expression of art form.
Yeah, and how it's manifested.
Commonly by shifting energy fields into crystallized objects. That's a common art form. That take the form and the shape of the thought and the concept in the collective or individual consciousness manipulating the energy field. Some of them are left static. Some of them constantly change to reflect the constant changes going on in the collective consciousness. So it would be as if you were walking by a series of sculptures that are constantly in motion. And looking at it will put you in touch with the collective changes going on in the consciousness of the planet.
Okay. Then following up on that, in your society, are there people who fundamentally are artists, and there's other people who are...
We are all artists. I happen to be a spacecraft pilot artist and also a diplomatic contact artist.
Okay. Interesting.
Are you asking if there are individuals whose experience would be by you considered only pure art?
Yes.
Yes, there are.
Okay. And when people observe this art that you've just described,
yes,
are there people in your species that that don't relate to it, or is it pretty much as you sort of described it? It's pretty universal.
Everyone will relate to it in some fashion. It just depends upon the viewer and the intention of the artist in terms of what they put into it.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone will relate to it in some fashion, or it wouldn't exist. In our society, the all are one, and the one are all. And even though there is individuality, nothing is left out, unless an individual chooses to have the experience of not relating to it. But that is unlikely in our society at this point in our evolution. If that were true, that some member of our society would choose to not relate to it, it would be unlikely they would ever even encounter the piece of art.
Mm.
Because synchronicity would simply say, that's not in your vibration.
Uh-huh.
You follow?
Yes, I do.
Although I'm giving you a rough example, because again, that's unlikely in our society at this point.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
And remember that we're all telepathically connected anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, even if it's not paramount within our consciousness, everything everyone does in our society in some way, shape, or form exists within the consciousness of every member.
But the meaning of the art piece itself could take on different meanings.
Yes, of course.
For the individual. Of course. One other quick question. In our last gathering, you had mentioned that on our planet there are people who have been here for up to 1,000 years, some 500 years,
yes.
300 years.
There are long-lived individuals on your planet, yes.
Is there an intention there? Are they chosen?
They are teachers. They are guides. They are sometimes quiet observers that add energy to the collective's ability to make choice.
Have they been chosen to be
here
this long?
They chose themselves.
They chose themselves.
Plus, it was also a discussion on higher levels as to what would facilitate their own soul's growth. In that sense, you could say that sometimes these decisions are made by collective committee, but it's still their choice.
But predominantly, they're here to teach.
They are here to guide gently.
Uh-huh. And so they can best achieve that through their longevity. And
yes,
do they?
Because sometimes humans go through cycles that are long, and they have to wait a while before you come back around and seek them out.
Is that to the student or to the teacher? Are you referring to the people who come in contact with these people, or?
Very often you will find that they give off a certain frequency that after the student goes through certain kinds of trials and tribulations will finally be ready to experience, and then they will find themselves gravitating toward those teachers, toward those guides. They will be called.
And so, in a sense, are the teachers waiting?
In a sense, but not from their perspective.
I see.
You must understand that 1,000 years to you is not necessarily 1,000 years to them.
True. But as far as the longevity, is it in some cases that it takes that individual that long to really come to their full power, and that's why they're... No. Okay.
It takes that long for you to wake up to find them, and they know that. So they hang around until you have finally gotten to a place where you will be attracted to their frequency.
Very good. Thank you, Bashar.